It all started when I turned 50. I considered that most likely I was at least at the halfway point in my life, a thought I found both sobering and thrilling. On a long walk among the uplifted red rock formations in Garden of the Gods in Colorado Springs, I prayed about what kind of old woman I would become and how I should think about my remaining years. I didn't have any great aspirations for that walk. I just didn't want to back into whatever was left of the rest of my life. I walked under the strong blue sky and bracing April air. The wind lifted my hair and rustled the paper I carried. I stopped and jotted thoughts and made that folded page the first entry in my old woman file. At the time, I had no idea that I had defined a groove of thought that I can profitably build on, refine, and live in all the way to the grave. For 20 years, I've fed that file. I've studied Bible passages, collected quotes, and hoarded odd pages, snippets of conversation, and insights from books I was reading, whatever held the slightest promise of stimulating my thinking on this topic, all the while holding up one idea after another to the scriptures, pondering and praying. My spiritual siftings that April day served a concern. I feared living my remaining years vaguely, merely drifting in the wake of those living unconsidered lives. I desired to move into the coming years with vigor and focus. Then, too, I feared becoming a pinched and grouchy old person. The truth is that, all things unchanged, the women we will be at 70, 80, and 90 are the women we are at 40 and 50, only distilled. Have you noticed that the flaws and weaknesses of a 40-year-old concentrate with age? A complainer at 40 will, with much practice, engrave the response in his or her bones by 70. Self-centeredness will intensify. Bitterness, allowed to take root and grow over decades, engulfs and consumes in advanced age. Anyone living a frittering existence at 30 will, apart from any serious course correction, end up frittering away an entire life. It is just as true that a person doesn't suddenly become a wise, kind, gracious, fruitful old person just by reaching, say, 70 years. Of course, it's not too late to grow and change. I take comfort in that. But more important, it's never too soon to begin. This journey has unearthed some surprises. A young woman, a pastor's wife from the East Coast, asked, "When I come next time, will you take me through your old woman file?" Why was I surprised at a young woman's interest? It is never too soon to prepare for the rest of our lives. The truth is that everyone, regardless of age, is already setting patterns for the shape of his or her life. These patterns of thought and practice will either serve the glory and purposes of God or hinder them. I suspect the material in my old woman file will benefit the young reader most of all. Even though a young person may be only mildly motivated by the question, what kind of an old person am I becoming? He or she will recognize the value of preparing for the future. The issues I'm pondering make a difference today, next week, and next year, and into whatever time remains. These topics and truths impact life with God now, our joy and usefulness to the body, as well as our entry into the Lord's presence at death. This book is the tangible result of my rumblings and stirrings as I've pondered life on earth, life with an expiration date, and life eternal with Jesus in heaven. It is the material evidence of my longing and intention to live in Jesus, with Jesus, and for Jesus to the end of my life. After all these years, I still find two questions motivating and challenging. More, I see them as infinitely consequential. What kind of old woman will I become? How will I live the rest of my life? It's certain that I'm heading into the rest of my life with greater prospect because of my years handling the material in my old woman file. The colors are brighter and clearer, the range of possibility greater than it would have been. My anticipation and attentiveness are increased. My antennae are up. I'm on a steep learning curve.